the road goes ever on and on. Welcome to Fringe TV's fantasy-themed coverage of the 2019 Hollywood Fringe Festival. We begin our 10th year with our lightning round. This year we asked Fringers, what is your show about?
It's a dark comedy that explores themes of mental health that takes place in an insane asylum where two men are debating whether or not a third man is real or not. It features a lot of amazing physical comedy.
It's about palm tree, it's about a spoon, and
a bunch of slackers that hang out in a late night diner.
A woman who goes on a journey to remember her wings and takes flight. She buys a one-way ticket to Berlin just with the dream of becoming a street performer and a pair of wings in a white garbage bag.
A woman who is trapped in an anesthesia-related coma. She pretty much has this super fantastical experience.
The gods of four pantheons, Greek, Chinese, Maya, and Egyptian, have called upon you, their demigod children, to help them face an ancient threat. The audience gets to interact with the gods, go on different quests, play games. Our world is your playground.
Theatrical and spoken word response to the questions that people have asked me on the streets of Los Angeles for 2 years on my YouTube series, specifically non-Black people.
My name's Brett Moore, and I have a serious baseball problem. Want to see?
An immersive, interactive show where audience members get to become part of a bachelor or bachelorette party.
And the whole thing takes place in a limo. And there are a ton of these penis whistles, too.
It's about a year where both my parents died, then my house burned down in the Woolsey fire. But I want to make sure that you know there's a lot of humor here, there's a lot of hope, and it's about coming out of the ashes, having a rebirth.
Two women who are going to get up on stage and make social commentary and political observations, and we do have two dogs that'll be present in case we're not funny.
Newbie actor who is doing his first one-person show gets into a fight with his stage manager, and the stage manager gets back at him during the show.
A former musical theater auditioner, and my parents forced me to get a real job in the real world, and I end up as a toy store Christmas elf.
An aerial adaptation of a classical ballet told through circus arts, aerial dance, featuring love, tragedy, and everything in between.
Losing yourself in motherhood and trying to be a creative person in motherhood, and finding yourself creatively.
A comedic romp through depression, eating disorder, and self-loathing. A show about one woman's story played by 3 different women in the different stages of her eating disorder.
Cupid who's given one last shot by God to save modern love. Otherwise he's sent to where all the fire people go. New Jersey. Along the way he has to fix up all these dates gone wrong at this restaurant.
Musical comedy about suicide and domestic abuse, which pretty much explains what it is, but it's really about a journey of self-forgiveness with inside yourself.
It's Meet the Parents with a twist. The family's naked, and so are you.
An unarmed black man named Edward James who gets killed by the police. He rises from the dead to wreak havoc on America.
Conversation about the expectation of procreation, and we follow our hero, Jenny, as she navigates the world of infertility and options and opinions flying at her from everywhere, even God weighs in.
It's a Western musical comedy in the style of Gilbert and Sullivan.
An interracial gay couple when they move from the city to the suburbs, and they have to deal with the fallout of the 5-year-old nephew of the white partner using the N-word.
My adventures across the casting couches of LA, pretty much. Put together a resume of sexual experiences. A sexual resume, yeah, that's what I did.
A couple leaves the world of online activism and leaps into the business of vigilante justice.
Nice pitch. Where did you get that from? The pitch store?
A boy who meets a girl inside a Jamba Juice, and it's a millennial musical comedy to take down corporate America.
They wake up Abe Lincoln and make him run for president in this election.
All right, guys, what's the name of your show? Guys?
After the suicide of his father and the death of his mother, a young man living alone in Victorian England struggles to find purpose in life through a passionate romance with Maud, ultimately learning that his feelings of isolation and violent tendencies are ultimately unescapable.
9 vignettes, 9 individuals and their inner sins and darkness, an almost Edgar Allan Poe meets Twilight Zone-esque way.
Our journey as a couple, I'm that one.
It's set in rural China during the early 80s, and it consists of 3 main elements. 1 man, 1 corpse, 1 fly. And it certainly has elements of horror and suspense to explore the idea of loneliness.
fictional history piece, a solo play that takes place in 1992 South Africa at an all-girls high school that's being desegregated for the first time. But it's a comedy because I'm South African and I figure apartheid hilarious, right?
Two working class sisters striving for a better life in the 1930s in Christchurch, New Zealand.
Magician who comes drunk to a kid's birthday party and brings a bunch of her crazy friends with her that are inappropriate at a kid's birthday party.
A 30-minute collection of 3 short plays about the records we keep and the stories they tell.
In the British kingdom of Crumperton, a young girl becomes the accidental leader of a criminal uprising against the Duchess, her mother.
A bunch of public domain characters who want to be the next Disney copyrighted character.
A comedy about growing up with a dog sled team. I actually did. In Canada, like a real dog sled team. What it's like to grow up thinking in pack structure and ask the age-old question of whether an omega can ever become an alpha.
What would happen if serial killers met up to have an AA group type of meeting?
Different social issues put in together through 4 different shows, ranging from police brutality to poverty to LGBTQ, and it's about raising an awareness and using theater as a way to bring social change.
It's a murder mystery that takes place around a rock band and groupies and all that stuff, and it's an immersive show.
An older sister who can only get to know her younger sister, Tilly,
through a game of Dungeons and Dragons.
Chronic illness and mental health and perversion. I mean, it's stand-up, it's solo, it's storytelling.
A film noir-inspired drama in which the femme fatale must control the investigation into the death of her best friend's husband.
It's a magical realist dramedy about 2 frustrated actors who accidentally kidnap a movie star. But is it really her?
A teenage girl who writes purposely terrible fan fiction, and the fan fiction gets super popular. 1/2 teen drama, 1/2 ridiculous, over-the-top fan fiction.
6 vignettes of women in the workplace, and it all takes place in the restroom. This is not a Me Too. It's kind of the anti-Me Too, where women are really not as supportive of each other as they could be.
Coming of age story in the digital age, it's basically the Breakfast Club, but with cell phones.
In a child who we forgot about and who's going to remind you about what really matters and valuable in this life, and it's going to be sensory experience.
Mayor's debate in a small town that's hiding a dark and terrible secret that's revealed throughout the debate, and when it's finally revealed, it's creepy as f***.
Author who goes to Italy for his Italian translation, only to discover that the translator has done a completely different book.
And Murder is about 2 friends living life as detectives, exploring the new world of murder.
A man at his instant of death, when his life flashes before him, he's reaching out to his sons to try to touch with their souls, to inspire them wisdoms to live purpose-filled lives.
A woman goes in to get her smoking cured through hypnotherapy and wakes up remembering all of her past lives, and that her therapist has been the love of her life in every single one of them.
Cabaret featuring classic show tunes, comedy, and just a ton of fun.
A bunch of illegal squatters who got to prove to their government that they're a real town worth saving.
Wow. That is one enchanting show. Fringers really are the most charming creatures. They've been delighting audiences for 10 summers, and they're still always full of surprises. We'll see you here again for part 2. In the meantime, remember, even the smallest creature can change the course of the future.